The rain had just stopped outside, leaving the city wrapped in a strange silence. Water clung to the glass panes of the cafe windows, rolling down in uneven trails like teardrops refusing to let go. Inside the cafe, the warmth of brewing coffee mingled with the faint hum of soft jazz playing on the speakers. People were scattered across the tables, some laughing with friends, some busy typing away on laptops, some staring into the void as if waiting for something that might never arrive. At the corner by the window sat a young man named Ahmed. He was in his late 20s, with neatly kept hair and a smile that often appeared without warning. There was something gentle in his eyes, as if they could read the unspoken stories in the air. His fingers tapped absent-mindedly on the wooden surface of the table while he watched the world outside. Cars splashing through puddles, people hurrying under umbrellas, children tugging at their mothers' coats. But truthfully, Ahmed wasn't just observing the world. He was waiting. Waiting for something he couldn't name. Waiting for a presence he had never met. Waiting for that one moment that would make all the other moments worthwhile. The door creaked open. The tiny silver bell above it gave a tired jingle, and a gust of cool air swept into the cafe. Everyone barely noticed, everyone except Ahmed. His eyes shifted toward the entrance, and there she was. She walked in with hesitant steps, a woman draped in a deep red dress that clung elegantly to her form. Her long, dark hair framed her face, and though she looked composed on the outside, her eyes betrayed a quiet sadness. Her name was Mahin. Mahin had grown used to being invisible. For as long as she could remember, she felt like life had placed her in the background of other people's stories. At school, she had been the quiet one nobody chose for group projects. At university, she had been the listener in conversations, never the one anyone waited for eagerly. Even as an adult, she felt people's gazes pass over her, as if she were just another shadow in the crowded world. Beauty was something people acknowledged in fleeting glances, but companionship, recognition, genuine attention, those things seemed always reserved for others. She stood there now, uncertain where to sit. The cafe buzzed around her, yet no one shifted, no one gestured, no one even smiled. For a moment, she considered leaving, retreating back into the rain. But then she saw him. Ahmed. Sitting by the window, his expression carrying a warmth that seemed to pierce through the noise. He wasn't just looking at her, he was seeing her. And that alone unsettled her in a way she hadn't felt in years. He leaned slightly forward, his lips curling into a smile, and with a gentle nod, he motioned to the seat across from him. Sit here, he said softly, his voice steady but kind. The words hung in the air like magic. So simple, yet they carried the weight of an invitation she had longed for all her life. Not just to a chair, but to belong. To matter. She hesitated, her hand tightening on the strap of her bag. Why? She whispered, almost to herself. Ahmed smiled wider. Because this place feels like it was waiting for you. Something stirred inside her chest, an unfamiliar warmth that made her throat tighten. Carefully, she walked toward him, her heels clicking lightly against the wooden floor. As she reached his table, Ahmed extended his hand slightly. She placed hers in his, and the softness of that touch was enough to make her heart tremble. She sat. For a few moments, silence wrapped around them. The world outside continued, cars rushing by, conversations overlapping, cups clinking against saucers, but at that table, time slowed. Mahin looked down at her hands, unsure of what to say. You don't even know me, she murmured. Ahmed leaned back, studying her gently. Maybe I don't. But sometimes you don't need to know everything. Sometimes you just know enough. She raised her gaze, meeting his eyes for the first time fully. They were steady, honest, carrying no judgment, only curiosity, only kindness. And in that moment, she realized she hadn't been looked at that way in years. You remind me of someone who's been searching for a place to rest, Ahmed added. And I thought, maybe this chair could be that place. Mahin's lips parted, but words failed her. Her entire life she had carried the weight of invisibility, of feeling unwanted, and here was a stranger, telling her she had a place. Her chest tightened, and she whispered, people don't usually notice me. I noticed, Ahmed replied softly. And I'm glad I did. The server arrived with a small notebook, breaking the fragile silence. What can I get you? He asked. Ahmed gestured toward Mahin, waiting for her to speak first. She blinked, as if not used to being given the first choice. Just a cappuccino, she said. Make that too, Ahmed added with a grin. And maybe one of those chocolate muffins, if you've got any left. The server nodded and left, leaving them in their bubble once again. As the rain tapped gently against the windows, Mahin found herself speaking, hesitant at first, then gradually opening up. She told him about her childhood, about how she was always the quiet one, the background friend, the one forgotten in group photos. She told him about her job at a design firm where her ideas were often overlooked until someone else voiced them. She confessed how tiring it was to feel like she never truly existed in the hearts or memories of people around her. Ahmed listened intently, never interrupting, never glancing away. His eyes stayed on her as if every word she spoke was precious, as if her story deserved to be told. When she finished, she looked down, embarrassed. I'm sorry. I don't know why I just spilled all of that. You must think I'm strange. Ahmed chuckled softly. Strange. No. I think you're brave. Most people hide behind smiles and small talk. But you shared your truth. That's not strange, Mahin. That's extraordinary. Her name on his lips startled her. She hadn't told him, had she? She frowned slightly. How did you? You dropped your ID card when you walked in, he said with a playful smile, pulling it from the table where it had landed earlier. He slid it back toward her. Mahin blushed, tucking it into her bag. So much for making a mysterious first impression. Who needs mystery? Ahmed leaned forward. I'd rather have honesty. And right now, I know one thing honestly, you belong here more than anywhere else in this cafe. The cappuccinos arrived, warm steam rising like fragile clouds between them. They both wrapped their hands around the mugs, savoring the comfort of the heat. Ahmed broke the muffin into halves, sliding one piece toward her. As they ate and sipped, the conversation flowed more easily. They spoke of little things, books they had loved, movies that stayed with them, places they dreamed of visiting. With each shared thought, Mahin felt layers of her loneliness peeling away. For once, she wasn't invisible. She wasn't background noise. She was seen, heard, valued. The hours slipped by unnoticed. Outside, the rain stopped, the clouds parted, and sunlight spilled onto the wet streets, turning puddles into mirrors. But inside the cafe, it still felt like twilight, like a suspended moment in time where two strangers could discover the possibility of something more. At one point, Ahmed leaned closer and said, do you believe that sometimes the universe arranges meetings we never planned? 4. Mahin tilted her head, curious. You mean fate? Maybe, he said with a shrug. Or maybe it's just that when two people need each other most, life finds a way to make them cross paths. She smiled faintly. And you think that's what this is? I don't think, Ahmed replied softly. I feel it. Mahin lowered her gaze, her cheeks warm. She wanted to believe him, wanted to hold onto this fragile hope that someone truly saw her, someone truly wanted her there. But doubt crept in, as it always did. What if tomorrow you forget me like everyone else? She asked quietly. Ahmed reached across the table, gently taking her hand again. His thumb brushed against her skin, grounding her. I couldn't forget you even if I tried. Because you're not just another face in the crowd. You're the person who walked into this cafe and made me realize what I'd been waiting for all along. Her eyes filled with tears, but for once, they weren't from sadness. They were from relief, from the sudden rush of knowing she mattered. She blinked quickly, smiling through the shimmer in her eyes. They stayed there until the cafe began to empty, until the server wiped down tables and chairs were stacked. When they finally stood, Mahin felt different, lighter, stronger, alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. As they walked toward the door, Ahmed held it open for her. Outside, the world was brighter, the air fresher, the streets gleaming. She turned to him and said softly, thank you. For giving me a place to sit. For giving me a place to belong, even if just for today. Ahmed looked at her as though the world could collapse around them and he wouldn't care. Not just today, Mahin. Whenever you need it, this place, my table, my company, it will always be yours. For a moment, they stood there, two souls who had been strangers only hours before but now felt bound by something deeper than coincidence. She smiled, truly smiled, and it lit up her entire face. And in that smile, Ahmed knew he had been right all along. Sometimes all it takes is a simple invitation, a gentle, sit here, to change two lives forever.